Kinesphere, Kinesphere. I really thought this was interesting. I loved the kind of duality that you were seeing with the two different visuals going on, and how at the beginning, I don't want to say that they were like at odds with each other, because that doesn't isn't quite correct. They didn't feel adversary necessarily, but they definitely were kind of more contrasting in a way. And then as you got further and further into it, there at one point they like fully kind of synced up, and it felt much more of a dance. And even at the very beginning, I kind of felt it was more of two separate things, and then at some point they kind of joined together, and then even when they separated back out after and they weren't quite as like fully in sync, it still felt very much like there was a kind of fluidity there, or a kind of playfulness between the two, I guess. I also loved how many different kind of visuals you got within the two visuals that you were, I don't know, I'm not describing this right, but you got like from weather to architecture to like just structures and elements, and you had all of these different visuals that, because of how it was cut together and how it was edited and how it was portrayed, it felt very much like they were dancing themselves, instead of, you know, for some of these things they're stationary objects. But it felt very fluid, and it felt very artistic, and I really really liked that. And like I said, I liked the kind of difference from the beginning, where it was there was two kind of separate things, to what it then kind of progressed to as you got further and further into it, and at one point like fully syncing, which I thought was really interesting.
This experimental dance film, Chimeras of the Kinesphere, shows two figures morphing into different shapes and elements as they move in a dance-like way. They kind of morph and flow into different elements, and I think it's all computer generated, but I can't tell if it's overlaid on, I mean, the element portion is all computer generated, but I can't tell if it's overlaid on top of real people dancing. But overall, I really like how the elements are represented and how they flow together with each other. It's very satisfying to watch. It's very ominous and daunting to watch, and I think it comes together in a really cool way that draws our attention and really distracts our minds.
In the Kinesphere, it's almost a kaleidoscope type feeling almost. There's this sense of imagery that's being mimicked and displayed side by side against itself. Inanimate objects are being formed as bodies and moving throughout the experience. I know at one point you see like a can person like running past the screen. What's really experimental is the way that they make these inanimate concepts blended into dance itself and making movement within that. It's making an inanimate object alive and giving it humanistic qualities almost in the movement through the music and experience, and that's what makes it experimental.